Most people do not become broke overnight. They become broke slowly, quietly, through habits that feel completely normal. And that's what makes it dangerous, because the habits destroying financial freedom in America today don't look dramatic. They look ordinary. Buying coffee every morning, ordering food after work, financing things people cannot actually afford, using shopping as emotional therapy, living for weekends, waiting for the next paycheck, ignoring savings, avoiding investing because it feels complicated. None of these decisions feel life-changing in the moment, but repeated over years, they quietly shape an entire future. And the scariest part, most people never realize their financial problems are behavioral before they are mathematical. People often think being broke is only about income, but many high-income people are also financially trapped because money problems are rarely caused by intelligence alone. They are usually caused by habits, emotions, impulse, social pressure, and unconscious financial behavior repeated for years. Today, millions of Americans are earning more than previous generations ever did, yet still feel financially stressed, financially anxious, and financially behind. Why? Because modern consumer culture was designed to keep people spending emotionally, instead of building wealth intentionally. And once certain money habits become automatic, they silently control a person's entire financial life. This video is not about blaming poor people, and it is not about pretending money is easy. Housing is expensive, healthcare is expensive, education is expensive. Everything feels more expensive than ever. But at the same time, many people are also participating in behaviors that quietly keep them financially stuck. Behaviors nobody teaches them to question, because society normalizes them. And the longer those habits continue, the harder financial freedom becomes. The truth is, most people are not one paycheck away from being rich, but many people are also only a few habits away from becoming financially stronger than they realize. Because wealth is rarely built through one giant decision. It is usually built through repeated small behaviors over time, and unfortunately, poverty can work the exact same way. Tiny bad habits, repeated for years, creating financial stress that slowly compounds. So in this video, we are going to break down the bad money habits quietly keeping millions of people broke in America today, not just financially, but psychologically. Because once you understand the psychology behind these habits, you start seeing modern life very differently. And some of these habits are so normalized, people defend them without realizing how much damage they create. Let's start with one of the biggest financial traps in modern America: the habit of spending money to feel emotionally better. Human beings are emotional creatures, and companies understand this extremely well. That's why modern advertising no longer just sells products, it sells emotions, status, comfort, confidence, escape, validation, belonging. People constantly hear things like, "You deserve this," "Treat yourself," "You worked hard," "You only live once." And slowly, spending becomes emotionally connected to relief. Feeling stressed? Buy something. Feeling sad? Order food. Feeling bored? Shop online. Feeling insecure? Upgrade your appearance. Feeling left behind? Buy the things successful people seem to own. And this creates a dangerous psychological cycle. Because emotional spending creates temporary dopamine. For a moment, the brain feels rewarded. But that feeling never lasts long. And once the excitement fades away, the financial consequences remain. The credit card debt remains. The monthly payments remain. The financial anxiety remains. And eventually, many people repeat the same cycle again, trying to escape the stress created by their previous spending. This is exactly why emotional spending becomes addictive, not chemically, but psychologically, especially in modern America, where consumer culture constantly pushes people to compare themselves with others. And social media made this problem even worse. Now people are exposed every single day to luxury lifestyles, perfect apartments, expensive vacations, designer clothes, luxury cars, and influencers pretending wealth is completely normal, even when much of it is financed, rented, or completely fake. But the brain still absorbs the comparison, and comparison quietly destroys financial discipline, because people stop buying things for usefulness. Instead, they start buying things for identity, to look successful, to feel respected, to appear ahead in life. And this creates another dangerous habit: lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation happens when income increases, but spending increases even faster. Someone gets a raise and immediately upgrades their car, gets a better job, and moves into a more expensive apartment, starts earning more, and begins spending more to match the image of success. So even though income keeps growing, financial freedom never arrives, because every increase in earnings gets absorbed by a more expensive lifestyle. And this is exactly why some people earning $50,000 still feel broke, while others earning $200,000 also feel broke. Because income alone does not create wealth, behavior does. A person can earn less money and still build wealth faster through discipline and intentional spending. Meanwhile, someone else can earn six figures and still remain trapped in debt forever. Because wealth is not only about how much money enters your life, it's about how much money stays. And modern culture trains people to leak money constantly. Subscriptions, impulse purchases, convenience spending, constant upgrades, luxury financing, food delivery, buy now pay later systems. Everything is designed to remove friction between emotion and spending. And the easier spending becomes, the harder discipline becomes. Meanwhile, companies profit massively from financial impulsiveness, because financially disciplined people are actually bad customers. Think about that for a moment. The economy often benefits more from people consuming emotionally than from people building wealth patiently, which is why resisting emotional spending today requires conscious effort, because the system constantly encourages immediate gratification. But wealth is usually built through delayed gratification, and unfortunately, many people never develop that skill. Debt has become so normalized in America that many people no longer see it as dangerous. It feels ordinary. Car payments are normal. Student loans are normal. Credit card debt is normal. Financing phones is normal. Monthly payments are normal. Entire lifestyles are now built around debt. And psychologically, this changes how people think about money, because people stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" That single mindset shift quietly changes everything, because monthly payment thinking hides the true cost of purchases. A $70,000 truck suddenly feels reasonable. A luxury apartment feels manageable. Expensive furniture feels affordable. A vacation feels harmless, as long as the monthly payment looks survivable. But over time, those payments stack together like chains, and eventually people realize most of their future income is already promised away before they even receive it. This creates financial suffocation, especially when emergencies happen. One medical issue, one layoff, one recession, one unexpected bill, and suddenly the entire system collapses, because debt removes flexibility. And flexibility is one of the most important forms of financial power. The more debt someone carries, the fewer options they have. They cannot quit toxic jobs easily, cannot take risks, cannot invest aggressively, cannot handle emergencies calmly. Debt quietly steals freedom, and credit cards make this even more dangerous, because credit cards psychologically disconnect spending from pain. Studies consistently show people spend more when using cards instead of cash. Why? Because the emotional pain of spending becomes delayed. Swiping a card feels abstract, but paying the bill later feels real. And by then, the emotional impulse is already over. Modern financial systems understand human psychology extremely well. That's why minimum payments exist. Because minimum payments create the illusion of control. People feel responsible because they are making payments. But interest quietly keeps growing underneath. And interest is brutal. Especially high-interest credit card debt. People end up paying far more than the original purchase ever cost. Sometimes double, sometimes triple. And the longer debt survives, the more it steals future financial opportunities. This is one reason why many Americans work harder every year, yet still feel financially trapped. A huge percentage of future income goes towards servicing past decisions, not building future wealth. Past spending controls future labor, and once people become financially exhausted, they often lose motivation to learn investing, saving, or wealth building entirely. Because survival mode consumes mental energy. Financial stress affects sleep, focus, mental health, relationships, confidence. Money problems are never just about money. They slowly affect a person's entire psychological state. And unfortunately, many people remain trapped in this cycle for decades. Not because they are lazy, but because nobody taught them how dangerous normalized debt culture can become. One of the most expensive money habits in America is not investing early. Not because investing is magic, but because time matters far more than most people realize. And unfortunately, many people delay investing for years simply because they feel intimidated by money. They believe investing is only for rich people. They think they need huge amounts of money before they can even begin. But the biggest advantage in investing is often not income. It is time. Compound growth rewards consistency more than perfection. Small amounts invested consistently over decades can grow into something massive. But many people wait. I'll start later. I'll invest once I make more money. I need to figure everything out first. And before they realize it, years disappear. The problem is, the longer someone waits, the harder wealth building becomes. Because compound growth depends heavily on time. And modern culture trains people to prioritize consumption over ownership. People understand how to buy products, but not how to buy assets. And that difference can completely change someone's financial future. Assets put money into your life. Liabilities take money out. But many people spend years accumulating liabilities while delaying asset building. And then another dangerous habit appears: short-term thinking. Modern society conditions people to expect immediate results. Fast food, fast shipping, instant entertainment, instant dopamine. But real wealth creation is usually slow, boring, patient, unexciting. Which is exactly why many people struggle with it psychologically. Because they want immediate visible rewards. Investing often feels invisible in the beginning. Small contributions do not feel life-changing. But over long periods of time, they become incredibly powerful. And financially successful people often understand something many others ignore. Money grows best when it is given time. Not panic, not constant emotional reactions, not impulsive decisions, time. But many Americans never develop long-term financial thinking because survival culture trains people to focus only on the next bill, the next paycheck, the next emergency, the next month. And when someone lives entirely in short-term survival mode, building long-term wealth becomes extremely difficult. This is why financial education matters so much, not because everyone needs to become a Wall Street expert, but because understanding money changes behavior, and behavior shapes financial outcomes. People who understand compound growth, investing, inflation, debt, and financial psychology often make very different decisions over time, and those decisions quietly separate financial stability from financial struggle. One of the most powerful financial forces in America is social pressure. People rarely make money decisions completely independently. They are constantly influenced by the people around them: friends, family, co-workers, social media, culture, and sometimes people spend money they do not even have just to impress people who are also financially struggling themselves. Because today, appearing successful has become more important than actually becoming financially secure. Modern culture rewards appearances, not patience, not discipline, not quiet wealth building. People celebrate visible luxury, but invisible financial stability often gets completely ignored. Nobody posts their emergency funds online. Nobody flexes retirement contributions. Nobody shows disciplined budgeting habits. Instead, people show cars, trips, designer brands, luxury apartments, and over time, this creates financial insecurity through constant comparison, especially among young adults. Many people feel like they are falling behind in life, simply because they are comparing themselves to carefully curated online lifestyles. But comparison is financially dangerous because it pressures people into artificial timelines. I should own this by now. I should look more successful. I should live like them. And suddenly, people begin making emotional financial decisions just to protect their social image. This is exactly why some people stay broke even while earning decent incomes, because they are financing an image, not building a future. And often, the people who look the richest on the outside are privately drowning in payments, while some genuinely wealthy people live surprisingly simple lives, because real wealth and visible wealth are not always the same thing. Visible wealth is often consumption. Real wealth is ownership, freedom, cash flow, and low financial stress. But society trains people to chase visible signals instead of actual stability. And that creates another dangerous habit: avoiding uncomfortable financial conversations. Many people never truly learn about money because talking about money feels awkward. Schools barely teach it, families avoid it, friends rarely discuss real finances honestly. So instead, people learn from advertisements, social media, and consumer culture, which is honestly one of the worst financial education systems possible, because corporations benefit when consumers stay financially impulsive, not financially educated. And sadly, many people spend years working hard without ever truly understanding how money systems actually work. Not because they lack intelligence, but because nobody ever taught them. The truth is, most financial destruction does not happen through one catastrophic decision. It happens through repeated habits, tiny behaviors repeated daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And eventually, those behaviors become entire lifestyles. But the opposite is also true. Financial stability is often built through small, consistent habits too. Learning discipline, spending intentionally, avoiding unnecessary debt, investing consistently, living below your means, thinking long-term, ignoring social pressure, controlling emotional spending. None of these habits look exciting online, but over years, they quietly change lives. And one of the biggest financial advantages a person can develop today is awareness. Because once you start recognizing the psychological traps around money, you begin making different decisions automatically. You stop buying things purely for validation. You stop confusing income with wealth. You stop believing every upgrade equals progress. You stop treating spending like therapy. And slowly, money stops controlling you emotionally. That is when financial behavior begins changing permanently. The goal is not perfection. Everyone makes bad money decisions sometimes. Everyone wastes money occasionally. The real difference is whether those behaviors become permanent habits. Because habits compound, both good and bad. And in modern America, many people are trapped not only by low income, but by unconscious financial behaviors they repeat every single day. The good news is, habits can change. Financial education can change. Mindsets can change. Behavior can change. And sometimes, one shift in awareness can completely change someone's future trajectory. Because wealth is rarely built in one moment. It is built slowly, through decisions nobody notices at first. And the people who eventually escape financial stress are often not the people trying to look rich today. They are usually the people quietly building discipline while everyone else is distracted by appearances. By the time society notices their success, the habits already created it.